We are talking again about project scope planning tonight. I think that we got to, we did the scope statement, am I correct?
Yeah.
Did you guys look on my tutor and see that I wrote a scope statement and I did a work breakdown structure and I did a RAM for the high level career day project? Did anybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, and so last week you started talking about the scope statement for your career day, and tonight I'm going to give you some more time to work on that further. And then we also spoke about a statement of work and a scope statement and a contracted statement of work. Am I right? We've done this. Okay, so the part where we're getting now to is the work breakdown structure. I think I started touching on this last time, but I'm going to recap and basically go into detail on the work breakdown structure because that's very important. Let me just quickly set my cell phone to silent. If you would please join me to set your cell phones to silent. Okay, so as we said last time, with the work breakdown structure, we start with a statement of work, which tells us the what of the project. So now only do we get to the how. All right. So in the statement of work, we have stated high level what it is that the project must do. When we get to the work breakdown structure, we're going to say exactly how we will do it. So how will we perform the actual work to meet the requirements? Right, and that's, remember, go back again to the requirements which we spoke about last time. What's the most important thing about a requirement? Can anybody remember from last week?
It's that the project manager, the project team, they don't have requirement. The client or the stakeholders have requirements.
Yes, yes. So it's not necessarily true that the project team doesn't have requirements, because the project team might also have requirements, but the project doesn't have requirements, the stakeholders have requirements. Okay, so you cannot put down the requirements of the project unless you know who the stakeholders are and what the stakeholders require from the project. Okay, so with a work breakdown structure, what we do is we subdivide the project into small, well-defined work packages. So it's a work package that we can give to somebody to say, this is what you must do on the project. Okay. Okay, this we did last time, so we won't do that again. And at the end of the day, the work breakdown structure is one of the most important pieces of information on your project, because it's the basis for your project schedule, your budgets, your resource requirements, your responsibility assignments, and risk management. Okay, and as I said last time, your quality goes back to it, your change orders go back to it. So the work breakdown structure is very important, and so it's very important to get it right. And when I say get it right in terms of the work breakdown structure, there isn't one way of doing it right. A right or a correct work breakdown structure must contain all the work. And that's when it's right, is when it contains all the work. But if I draw up a work breakdown structure and Zuzo draws up a work breakdown structure, they might not look exactly the same. And that doesn't mean that I'm right and he's wrong, or he's right and I'm wrong, as long as both of our work breakdown structures contain all the work that needs to be done. Okay, so we looked at this example last time. Do you remember the example of a house where we broke it down into the site, the living unit, the garage, the overhead administration, and then the living unit was further broken down into the basement and the structure, and then the interior, and the structure was broken down into floor, roof, and walls. And remember, I said that somebody with OCD wouldn't be good at setting up work breakdown structures because they would want symmetry, and symmetry is not necessarily what makes a good work breakdown structure. So you don't break everything down to exactly the same level. You break it down to the necessary level. Okay, so basically how we do a work breakdown structure is we start with a statement of work and the requirements, and we ask what are the 5 to 10 high-level activities that would yield the intended results. So if I open this document that you all looked at, not, let me just get to it. Oh, by the way, before I forget again, we must, we have not elected a class representative in this class, have we? Okay, can we please elect a class representative tonight? If you want to think about it, are we going to do it in a democratic manner so that we're going to have some nominees, or are you just going to pick on one person? It's your choice.
I think we can pick out our beautiful ladies here. You know, ladies, they know how to defend themselves. You can get one of the beautiful ladies to lead us, you know.
Okay, so doctor says we must pick a lady. Does anybody want to nominate anybody? You want to nominate doctor?
But I'm not a lady.
It's okay, we'll buy you a wig. All right, so we have one nomination so far. Doctor, does anybody have a different nomination?
No, but before that, Prof, I think there's a slight problem. Part and parcel of this organization, I think it's not going to be fair for the people. You know.
Okay, because you work for the Faculty of Engineering.
TUT, you know.
Okay.
I don't know. I must declare. Oh, that's fine.
They like that. Okay, any other nominations? Anybody else that you think would make a good class representative? Okay, so you've been...
I'm nominating for.
Well, at least you're around and you can see to their problems on campus. So can you please just write all your details down for me?
So what are the benefits?
The benefits. I can tell you what the responsibilities are. Yes, the benefits are you're going to make a lot of new friends. Because everybody is going to friend you on Facebook and get your email address.
And I'll be the first one to get the memo after an assessment to see.
Yes.
Okay. I can live with that. So my group members get the memo after immediate after assessment. To you all.
Okay, so just please write your name, surname, email address, telephone number, stuff like that down for me. Shoe size, IQ.
How about my age?
No, just your shoe size and your IQ.
At my age, I'm old enough to kill a cow.
All right. Okay. So if we then just recap on our scope statement, we said that the objectives are to plan, develop, and execute a career day for KYP for the grade 8 to 12 learners. Why is this thing jumping up and down? To share different aspects of careers with them. Doctor, stop writing.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. It also gives the students an opportunity to, so that's you guys, an opportunity to apply a project management methodology and thereby learn in a practical manner. All right, so that's what we said the objectives of the projects are. Then we had identified some stakeholders, and in class we had looked at the requirements of some of the stakeholders, and I went and I basically completed the list. So I took all of the stakeholders and I put what their requirements would be. All right. So you will see, for example, for the police in Soweto, the career day must not create civil disturbance in the area. Okay. So whether that's parking related or whatever, they just want everything to be peaceful and calm on the day. And then the other learners in Soweto, I said to also be invited to the career day, because that's what they want. And so we will consider as we go along whether we will be able to accommodate more than just the KYP kids at the career day. And then the funders want to give back to the community and advertise their services, and I think all the rest we basically discussed in class. Are there any questions?
I'm looking at
Katlego.
under parents, you said to become empowered to motivate children.
Yes.
For this project, are they going to be there as well? If they're not going to be there, how are they going to be empowered?
Well, basically because their kids are going to come home and say, I want to be a doctor. And they will then be able to motivate the child and say, you know, yes, that's great, you know.
Well, not with the knowledge of the faculty.
Yes, just with the fact that the child becomes motivated. So now the parents can say, because I mean the parent before didn't even know what the child wanted to become. Now the child comes home and says, I want to become this. And so hopefully we have supportive parents that will then say to the children, hey, that's great, you know, become this. I've realized with a shock in the last few weeks that my child is going to become an accountant, because he's taking accountancy this year for the first time, and he absolutely loves it. He's 2 weeks ahead on all his accountancy work. Everything else is 2 weeks behind, but his accountancy is 2 weeks ahead. And sorry?
Why with shock?
Well, with shock because it really wasn't something that I thought, firstly, that he would enjoy, and secondly, that he would become, you know. Because both him and my husband, his father and I are both engineers, so we come from a more technical type background, and both of us hated accountancy. So, so I don't know where he comes from, but
encouraged him to become
a Zoomer. No. He's very anti-Zoomer. But anyway, that's another story. But yes, so
still on that issue of parents, maybe some of the parents will take interest in their maybe this career day. So I'm sure they would want to accompany their kids to find out more information.
Yes, I mean some of the parents might come along to the career day as well. They might accompany their kids.
The last
Yes.
one was a coincidence that we talk about the kids wanting to be a doctor, because we are on the medical, I guess.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was just something which I don't know why. I never ever wanted to be a doctor, so I don't know. If anybody has any blood anywhere or any wounds anywhere, I always say, if I wanted to become a doctor, I think I was clever enough to do that, but I didn't, because I don't like blood, so go away. All right. So, so if you wound yourself in my class, these are the guys to talk to, not me. All right, okay, and then we talked about deliverables and milestones, and I tried to make it clear here. So these are the phases: initiation, design, preparation, and implementation, and then these are the deliverables. Okay, so signed off high level project charter, signed off group project charters, and then that gives us the milestone, which is initiation is completed. Then here we have stalls and materials designed, sponsors obtained, approved project plan, and so that's the design milestone completed. And then all material and furniture is available, so the preparation is completed, and then a successful career day, and then the implementation milestone is completed. So does everybody now understand what is a deliverable, what is a phase, what is a deliverable, and what is a milestone?
Yes, well, let's say yes, but now
But
the question that comes. It's pretty clear now that you participate, you the project sponsor for the park.
Yes.
So the issue that comes when it comes to some cost, is it the cost of traveling, or also like outsourcing the equipment that we need that we should include in that?
yes, well, the thing is that I have zero budget. Okay, so I'm the sponsor in the sense that I'm signing off the charters and I'm signing off the project plans. But I have zero budget. So you as groups have to find the budget to get there and to give material and all of that somewhere.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, so that's the funders.
It should be include cost, but to be able to break down the cost, what's
Yes.
the point, but not necessarily that we have to get from it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right, so that's the deliverables and milestones. And then we said what it does not include is transport for the kids, bursaries for individual students. We said that KYP must supply the electricity and no food and drinks will be provided. Okay. Yes?
Let's try to avoid. I'm very confident about deliverables and milestones. If I try to respond to that and get correction, perhaps it will be better, because nobody did.
Yes.
My understanding of deliverables become actually the KPIs of the project, in the sense that it's a final tangible product.
Yes.
And then milestone becomes the phases that we are targeting within the product that we are delivering.
Yes, so the milestones is basically a collection of the deliverables, because you can also, in the middle of a phase, you can have a milestone. So a milestone is just working together towards a tangible thing, and we say, that's done. Okay. And the names there at the back, because I see you guys didn't get your names. Can we just circulate the names? Yes, there was a hand.
When you do have a series of activities in order to reach that goal, is it then right to say that milestones will be reached only if one goes back for an activity, once it goes to finish the activity, milestone, or do they have a series of activities where we reach that milestone?
Okay, so we are going to get to the activities now in the work breakdown structure. So we have deliverables, okay, and in order to get to the deliverable, so for example, to get to a signed off project charter, someone has to generate the project charter, someone has to check the project charter, and someone has to sign the project charter. So those are the activities to get to the deliverable. And then once these two deliverables are completed, then the milestone is completed. Does that make sense? Kamiso, does it make sense? Where's your name? Don't you have a name? Did they?
The previous 3 classes I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, then make yourself a name. Oops. You can be special. You can have a green name. So then I can just say Mr. Green if I can't pronounce your name.
No, it's very easy.
Okay, so then the next step, which is what we were busy on the slides with, is the work breakdown structure. I found some free software which you can go and download over there. which helps you to draw up a work breakdown structure. And that's very nice because the tools that you get inside Microsoft Office, the Microsoft Office suites, are not very nice to draw up work breakdown structures because you have to put the numbers in by hand, etc., etc., and it's not very nice. And this one, I found it automatically puts the numbering in for you, and it automatically makes the levels. Of course, you have to tell it how to do the levels, but it automatically puts the lines in for the levels for you. All right. So the initiation phase, what I said was approve group charters, generate group charters, and generate high-level charters. If we have those three activities, have we completed the initiation phase, do you think? No, the project plan comes in the design phase, remember? If you go... the project plan comes here during the design phase. So the initiation phase is just the project charters. Okay. Okay, does anybody want to comment on this work breakdown structure? Is there anything that seems strange to you? On the first phase. Okay. Yes, Mazande.
Can you approve the chart after you do it? First approve the chart, then you generate the chart.
Okay, that's what I was after. Your work breakdown structure is a breakdown of your activities. It has no time information built into it. Okay, so and that's why I just put all the activities there, and on purpose I actually didn't make it so that the numbers follow each other. All right, and that is because there is no time information built into a work breakdown structure. Okay, so the work breakdown structure only tells you what the activities are that need to be done. So there's no sequence, there's no schedule. Okay, logically, one would obviously, think, okay, I must do this and I must do that, and somehow you would use sequence when you're thinking about it. But strictly speaking, a work breakdown structure has no schedule information in it. All right? Yes.
I don't know. Well, where I got wrong information. I thought first thing in the brainstorming session, should be taking for example how to make a cup of tea. We sit down now, someone said, get sugar, get whatever, we put everything together. So now we categorize the activities that are there.
Yes.
But the first thing, maybe you have to boil, get water before you boil water, because you boil water and get water. So that isn't supposed to follow the first thing, maybe I should just be able to, or first thing, ensure that there is electricity anyway. Get water, boil water, get sugar and everything, and so that it follows the logical sequence, you say now.
No, in a work breakdown structure, all it tells you is what is the work that has to be done.
Oh.
Okay, so often and normally there will be some form of numbering, having sequence information, but that's not necessary. And the problem with that is also if you strictly try and stick to having numbers, what happens is if I now have said approve, say I said approve group charters, and then I thought, okay, but now I must generate it. So now I must move the numbers around. You understand? And that becomes confusing. And this is a small project, so on this project, maybe it's not that important. But when we're talking about huge projects, the important thing during the work breakdown structure phase is not to sequence, it is to identify the work.
Or to check what is inside and what
Yes.
is outside. What is
Yes.
what
What is the work that must be done? And that's all that we worry about in the work breakdown structure. Okay, and so when you start to think about sequencing as well, you are already complicating matters. Okay, yes.
Sorry, that means you can just list those items down without using that structure.
No.
Because you said,
No.
You said that the sequencing and the numbering doesn't matter.
No. The numbering does matter, because when we get to the schedule, we have this approved project charters that has that number, and we use that number on the schedule so that we know where to refer back to the work breakdown structure. Okay, and the other thing which the number does do for us is it gives us the hierarchy. Right. So the question that we must ask is, if we have done all three of these activities, is the initiation phase complete? Because this is what this is telling us, is that if we've done 1, 2, and 3, we have completed the initiation phase. And the numbers are important because 1.1 is the number for our initiation phase, and everything that is below it makes up the initiation phase. So if I can give you a simplistic example, if for example I say build a house, all right? And I say structure, and I say foundation, walls, doors, and windows, floors. Do I have a house?
No, you don't, because there's no roof.
Okay, I don't, because there's no roof. Right, so I have to add roof over here. Okay, so these lines are important because these lines tell me that whatever is connected to structure makes up structure. All right. And of course, this would have numbers, and this would maybe be 1.4, and so this would be 1.4.1, 1.4.2. Okay, and so all that I want here is I want to know what are all the things that I must do to get to that. And it doesn't matter where I put roof, because there's no sequence information in the work breakdown structure. That comes later when I do the scheduling. Okay.
Then I did my homework wrong.
Then you did your homework wrong. Okay, I haven't plugged in my computer. That might be a good idea. Hey. That's one of the first things I learned at university is it always works better when it's plugged in. There we go. Because I was busy doing an experiment, and this experiment wasn't working because nothing was showing on the oscilloscope. And then I realized that the oscilloscope wasn't plugged in. Okay, so now we plugged in.
The one I learned was to save. That's why I don't forget.
Yes, the other thing is to save. Yeah. Okay, so are we all happy that if we've done this, then we've finished the initiation phase?
Yeah, if that's defined as far as our project is concerned.
Yeah, as far as this project is concerned.
No one can dictate that, because you say that during initiation is what I'm doing.
Yes.
So I think something.
Okay, then in the design phase, we need to generate a high-level project plan, and that's what we're going to be doing together in class. And we've already started with that because we've already generated the scope statement. This is the work breakdown structure, and we will probably get to the RAM. If we don't get to it tonight, We'll get to it next week, the responsibility allocation matrix. All right. And then we need to generate a high-level schedule. And once we've done that, we have a project plan for this project. Okay? Remember when we spoke about project plans last time, we said things like budget and quality and so on and so forth should also be part of this. But in this course, we only focus on basically the scope and the schedule. All right. But obviously, you guys are going to have to look at cost as well. Right. And then you're going to have to generate your group project plans. The group project plans will have to be approved, and there will be some high-level event design that will need to be done. So there I've already looked at and said that we're going to arrange entertainment for the grade 1 to 7 learners. So I'm going to sign up some of the National Diploma students to help with that. And also for the entertainment for the grade 1 to 7 learners, I'm going to have to find a sponsor, or they are going to have to find a sponsor for that. And then as part of the high-level arrangements, I also need to arrange assistance from the TUT Career Guidance Office, because I would like them to also bring have a stall with their pamphlets and so on and so forth. And then the last thing I must do is to obtain information on the available equipment, because you guys want to know, are there tables, are there chairs, that type of thing. All right. So you can go and look at it and decide. And remember that this work breakdown structure will remain dynamic, especially during the phase when you guys are busy with your project plans. Because as you do your project plans, you might come and say to me, hey, but wait a minute, we need you to do this as well. All right. And then we will add it to this work breakdown structure. So this work breakdown structure is not cast in concrete yet. All right. Then during the preparation, okay, and you will see that for your part of the project, I've left it here at generate group project plans level, because on your work breakdown structure, you will break that down further, and you will decide what must happen underneath that. Okay? And this is how it often happens in a real project, especially when you have a subcontractor. You will say to the subcontractor, okay, we want you to develop a stall at the career day. You go away and you do everything that's necessary for that stall. And that's what you, in essence, are doing. So if, for example, Boeing buys an engine for their aircraft from, who do they buy them from again? Sorry? Rolls-Royce. Okay, so say Boeing, I think they do actually. So Boeing buys an engine from Rolls-Royce. So when Boeing breaks down their aircraft, nope, not a very good netball player today. So when Boeing breaks down their aircraft, they will have, say, the airframe, the avionics, the engine, and whatever else, the interior, whatever else goes there, all right? And part of the airframe, they would then have the wings, the fuselage, etc., etc. And this, because they are manufacturing it, they would break this down even further. Do you understand? Because they are manufacturing it. But the engine, they are buying out. So all that they have here is they have a scope or a statement of work of what it is, what the specification of the engine is, and they give that to Boeing. And Boeing will then take that and they will make their own work breakdown structure, which will be called engine. And this is where I fall off the bus, but they will have pistons, the engine block, and whatever else goes into an engine, and I really don't know what goes on after that, because I'm not a mechanical engineer. But so do you understand what I'm getting at? So you take over here. So according to my high-level plan, you've done that, or you're going to be doing that. So I'm not worried about how you break that down further. Right, and that is what happens in real life, how projects happen in real life. And depending on how your relationship is with your supplier, it might be that you end up combining the work breakdown structure to have a complete work breakdown structure. But very often this is proprietary, so you will just stop at the engine level, and the rest of it is like a black box to you, as long as you get the engine that does what it says it should do. Okay. And I'm sure that you guys will all be very unhappy if I share your group project plans with everybody else, because that's your proprietary information. Yes.
Talking about the black box, that's a project management, where obviously the work breakdown structure, if you don't have that view or if it is a black box, then how do you manage quality? That's what I come out of.
Okay, so obviously in your high level specification you will have some or other well, you can specify milestones. Okay, so you can specify, I want a prototype by this date, and you won't have the detail of how they got to the prototype, but by the 30th of June they will deliver the prototype. And you will have written the test specification by the 30th of June. And then on the 30th of June, you and Rolls-Royce together will then test it. So there's always a level of integration, okay, which has to be on your work breakdown structure. And you have to inform the supplier or the subcontractor that by the 30th of June your prototype needs to be delivered, and we will be testing it according to this specification. And that's how you then keep tabs on it.
I guess in a construction environment, it's easy, but in my environment,
What is your environment?
I mean, resource management, aligning business with IT.
Aligning business with IT. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to be creative about identifying milestones where you want certain things that can be tested together. If there are things that are like a black box to you.
Yeah, you realize at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you see, exactly, and that's why we break things down into phases, and that's why within the phases we have milestones, so that we can keep a check that everything is still running according to plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I'm thinking how to be operationalized.
Okay, well, think about it, and if you have more questions, then we can talk about it again. All right, and then during the preparation phase, I've said there's the group preparations, and again, to me, that's a black box. You guys are doing that. And then for the high-level preparation, I must purchase the materials. I must do the high-level plan for the career day. You know, what time are we going to get there, and how long is it going to take us to set up, and, you know, that's what time must the kids arrive, and stuff like that. And then another important thing, remember when we were talking about the project charter, we said how are we going to measure success? And we said we were going to have a questionnaire. So obviously I have to develop that questionnaire, all right. And I'll have to print it, and I'll have to pilot it, and I have to generate it. And I have to decide on the measures. Sorry?
So you've got a good sponsor.
And I have to decide on the measures of success. But that's when we get to the responsibility allocation matrix, you'll see that although I'm responsible for this, I'm going to need your input. And especially on the piloting, I'm going to need your input to make sure that we're measuring the correct stuff. All right.
But then to measure success, can that also be somehow done per group?
Yes.
But
Yes, it should be done per group. Yes.
yeah, because
Yes.
maybe I'm just sharing our information now, because it's one of the things that we're
Yes.
thinking about.
Yes, you have to remember in your project charter, you have to have a measure of success of your own stall. Okay. All right, and then also at the high level, I must confirm the dates and the arrangements with KYP, and I've already started doing that, and they've already said that the 20th of July will work for them. But I mean, obviously, it's an ongoing communication that I need to have with them. Yes.
That's the question. Are you supposed to have commitment dates of activities under work breakdown structure?
No. That comes next when we do the time planning and when we do the schedule. That's where we decide when things are going to be done. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, very often your software, or you get some software that does everything together and will give you a work breakdown structure with times and responsibilities and everything on one sheet, which is nice. But the thing is that if you try and do everything together, that's where you forget about things. All right. And that's why the process that I'm teaching you is to first think about what is the work, then think about who's responsible for the work, and then think about how do we schedule it, what must be done before what. Okay, because especially for a new project manager, if you walk in there and it's the first time you've done this project, it can be very daunting. You know, where do I start? And so according to the PMBOK and according to how most books on project management recommend it, you start by saying what is the work that must be done. Right, and all the other things must happen. We're not saying they mustn't happen, but it's just that you have to start somewhere. And it's better to focus on one thing at a time than to try and do everything, because when you lose focus, that's where you start forgetting activities. Okay. Right, and then the last phase is the implementation phase. Again, there's stuff that you guys are going to have to decide what you want to do. I have to make sure that the questionnaires are distributed and collected. I have to make sure that the TUT stall is set up and cleaned. And I have to make sure that the high-level materials and equipment is transported on the day. All right. Does this work breakdown structure make sense to you? Okay, and we will talk about it, and if there's anything that's missing, we will add it. Okay, because this is what I sat and I did in my office. And remember, project managers are not supposed to sit alone in their offices and do the planning. You're supposed to do the planning as part of a team. All right. And so it's okay if you do this as the project manager, just to have an initial structure, but you then have to be open to the team saying to you, but wait a minute, you've forgotten this and this must be added. And do you understand what I'm saying? So this will change as we continue. Because we're only at the, we're only in the initiation phase really at the moment. Okay, then if I go back to the, okay, so you can see that for our career day, I decided to use the phases as the high-level activities. You could use deliverables as the high-level activities. It really is up to you and up to your project and up to how projects work in your environment, how you decide to do that. Okay, and then for each of these activities that you've decided on, you say what is involved here and what is required. If the questions are difficult to answer, it means that the activity must be broken down further. All right, so you need to ask the questions and break the activities down until you have a complete handle of this is what must be done. Okay, and this is also the entity or person who can take responsibility for this activity. Right, and then continue breaking down activities until all activities at the bottom of the work breakdown structure are well defined. So everybody in the team knows exactly what it is that they must do. So there's no vagueness, there's no ambiguity, it's very clear. Okay, and then we spoke about, can you remember which one is the right answer? Is it verb and object, noun and verb, verb and verb, noun and object?
Number one.
Okay, so a verb and an object. All right, so if you write, yes, build a house. So when you write your work breakdown structures for your group plans, if it doesn't have a verb and an object, you will lose marks. And in the tests and the exams, I will ask you to do work breakdown structures for simple projects like making a cup of tea, like Doctor was talking about. And if you do not use a verb and an object, you will lose marks. And if you had done your homework, or when we get to that bit, that was your homework, you will also see that the verb and the object there is very important. Okay, so at the end of doing the work breakdown structure, you need to know, do you need better estimates of duration and cost for the work package? So can I take this work package that I have over here, say of decide on measures of success, and can I estimate what the effort of that is going to be? Yes, I can probably estimate that it will take me 1 day to do that, and that I will then have to spend maybe 15 minutes in class with you guys to confirm that. Okay, so I don't need to break that one down any further. But for example, confirm dates and arrangements with KYP. Well, maybe I should break that one down further, because I've confirmed the dates, but what are the other arrangements that I need to make with them and need to confirm with them? Okay, so I maybe have to go and think about that one and think about how much further must I break it down. Oh, I was at the right place. There. Okay. Can you identify who will be responsible for the work package? So it's not just, well, I know that for the group levels, it's group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But within your group, can you say Lufuno is going to do that and Alina is going to do that? Okay, and you know that you've broken it down far enough once you can make one person responsible. Why do we want to make one person responsible?
Accountability.
Sorry?
Accountability.
Accountability. All right. Because if we say that we want to bring cold drinks for just us for our stall, all right, and Kamiso and Doctor will be bringing the cold drinks. On the day, what's going to happen is there's not going to be any cold drinks. Because Kamiso is going to say, oh, but I thought Doctor would do it, and Doctor is going to say, oh, but I thought Kamiso was going to do it. Right. So the better way would be to say, buy 2 Cokes and buy 2 Fantas. Kamiso buys the 2 Cokes and Doctor buys the 2 Fantas. Okay. This seems simplistic, but this is what happens in our projects in reality, is because we don't assign accountability to the team members. Things don't happen because people have loopholes and they can say, oh, but I thought, and I didn't think that part was actually my responsibility, and that's why we need to break things down to the correct level where we can assign responsibility. Is the size of work package too large to track and control? And that's maybe Katlego, where your problem comes in, is that your black boxes are too large. So you don't get enough feedback often enough on your black boxes to know where are we now. Does that make sense? Because you only at the end, when everything is supposed to be, when the engine is supposed to be fitted onto the Boeing, do you suddenly realize, oh, but the engine isn't completed. And there wasn't a prototype that was tested and all these intermediate steps. Right. And the project management rule of thumb is that normally the size of a work package is 2 weeks. That's just the rule of thumb. Okay, so sometimes we can make work packages longer than that, but normally on a project we have weekly progress meetings with the project team. So 2 weeks is a good size for a work package, because I'll get you now. Because week 1 you say, okay, Alina do this, Lufuna do that, Kamiso do that. Week 2 you say, okay, how far are you with doing this? And Alina says, oh well, I'm done, so I can take my next I can take the next work package that needs to be done. Lufunu says, I'm halfway, I'm on track, I should be finished by next week. And Kamiso says, we underestimated the effort on this task, we should have given it 3 weeks, so let's adjust the schedule accordingly. So do you understand? So in the because we have weekly meetings, the 2 week work package intervals make sense. But now you don't go back to work and say to your team, every work package must now be 2 weeks because that's what the professor said. Because sometimes it doesn't make sense. All right. So for me to confirm the dates with KYP took me half an hour. So now to put on the project plan that is going to take 2 weeks because that's a work package, that just doesn't make sense. Yes, sorry, I've forgotten your name. Katlego, hey. Agile project management. It's outside the scope of this semester, but next semester we do Agile, and that works very well for software specifically, which is what it sounds what you're working with. So go and read up so long on Agile project management. Okay, because that gives you shorter, you pick smaller lists of requirements, and you have quicker run-throughs and coding and testing before you then go on to the next one. Okay, but we only do that next semester, unfortunately. Okay, so are activities within work packages independent of each other? You want them to be independent because as soon as they become dependent, they should actually be in one work package. Do some activities within work packages have different immediate predecessors? So if you have if you can't sequence things logically, then your work packages must be broken down further. All right. So you can see that as you go on with the next steps, you will also start refining your work breakdown structure. So it is an iterative process. It's not here it is and now let's just go on. If we've made a mistake, we must go back and we must fix it. And that's also why we don't put sequence information in the work breakdown structure. Because that means we go back and we have to change the numbers all the way, and it really becomes really irritating. Okay, so are risky and non-risky activities combined in the same work package? We don't want to do that. We want to separate risky and non-risky so that we can focus on the things that are risky and we can put plans in place for whatever is risky. Does the work package contain many different kinds of resources? So if we have a work package and it needs a civil, mechanical, electrical and electronic engineer to do it, it's probably not broken down far enough. If the answer is yes to any of the questions, decompose the work package into smaller work packages. So, it's like when you kill somebody and you want to dispose of the body, you have to cut it up into smaller pieces so that it can decompose better. That was a joke. If the answer is no to all of them, the work package probably does not need to be subdivided. All right. It was a joke, okay. All right, so we've looked at the work breakdown structure for the career day as I've done it. So before you now go and do it in your teams, you're not going to have that much time left. What we do is we brainstorm. We use past experience. So for the career day, has anybody here ever been involved in a career day? Okay, so maybe you don't have past experience.
Yeah, but in the current day, it says that, put it this way, like what we have is open day.
Yes, open day. So Doctor at least has been involved in something similar. But so although you haven't been involved in a career day, you probably have been involved in arranging an event. Who of you are married? Okay, so you've been involved. So you have been involved in arranging an event where a lot of people came together. Did anybody have a big 21st party or 16th birthday party, or have you ever arranged a party? You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, so you all do have some form of past experience, although it's maybe not specific. Right, and then one can also use templates, but this is normally in an organization where you have done similar projects before and you then use a template. But in a sense, I've also tried to help you by giving you a template, but you're going to have to make that template work for yourself. Right, and then we use multiple teams, and sometimes we pull in an expert. So we might ask experts that are not necessarily working on the project, but that can contribute to help us to plan the project, to come in and sit and look at the work breakdown structure and tell us what's missing. Okay, so there are different approaches. So here, they start with the end system, subdivide it into subsystems, and then into components, then into parts. So planning system, control system. Okay, so this is Syscom drives for the project. Syscom drives project. Yeah. So there's a planning system, there's a control system, and there's an office edition that's necessary to make this project happen. And that is then broken down into the different subsystems. So system engineering, hardware, software. Here we have system engineering, software, materials, controllers, processes. And then here we have design, foundation, structure, exterior, mechanical systems, and interior detail. So you can see this is broken down according to the functions that we need. And you can see this isn't broken down to work package level yet, because there are no activities yet. Okay, so then the next thing that we can do, which is what I chose to do, is to start by defining phases or stages in the project and then subdivide each into detailed tasks, end with a defined deliverable for each. Okay, so that's the approach that I followed. I said that we have the initiation phase and the end of it is the approved project charters. Do you remember that? Okay. So there are different ways that you can do it. Then we get different ways of presenting a work breakdown structure. The one is the tree structure where we show, draw the little boxes and show the lines. Another way is to have an indented structure. So you can see everything that's at the system level comes in this column, then subsystem, component, part. All right. So this and this is the same thing. It's just in a different format. Okay. Then every task or work package has a unique identifier. Right. So that's just the numbering. Some people like to use letters in their numbering. Some people use just numbers. Some people will have, say, 1 at this level, A at that level, 1A, 1, whatever. Whatever rocks your boat. I really don't care. All right. To me, numbers make sense, I suppose because I'm an engineer. But it doesn't matter what you decide to use as long as you apply it correctly and as long as you apply it consistently. All right. So I can't now say here, this is 1B2 and this is 1C3, etc., etc. Because the A has to be here because there's a line between the A over here and the box over here. All right. So this has got hierarchy information in it, and it has to speak to each other. Because when I look at the this item lay foundation on my schedule, and it has 1A2, I can track it back easily to my work breakdown structure, and I can see, okay, it's actually part of the structure. Do you see that? So that's why the numbers have hierarchy information built in. All right, and then, as I've said, all the things that subsequently follow, your schedules, your budgets, your responsibility matrix, your change requests, your risk register, all of those have exactly the same numbering. Okay, so is the following work breakdown structure correct? And it's easy, yes or no? Okay, so who says yes? Okay, so we've got one yes. Who says no? Right, so the no's, why? Paul, why do you say it's not right?
You cannot start to build a house when you are not taking care of what you want.
Okay, so the first thing is that it is not complete. So at this level here, there should be a whole lot of other activities added in order to make up the house. Right. So that's mistake number one. Then what other mistake is there? Or is there any other mistake? All right, so Ivan, what is another mistake?
Order materials twice.
Okay, so you ordered the materials twice. Okay, and so this task is unnecessary. So even if this was 1.2.1, it would still be unnecessary. Because one of the rules of a work breakdown structure is a parent, so the parent is the top item, should not have only one child. Okay, because that's when somebody with OCD has drawn up the work breakdown structure, because they've just wanted to break it down to the same level as whatever else is broken down to. Okay, so 1.3 not required. Right, what else? Or do you think there is anything else wrong? Yes or no? Lefunu says yes.
In the hierarchy,
Yes.
regardless of the numbering, design and order material cannot be at the same level.
Why not?
Because when you are ordering, before you confirm the design, you don't necessarily know what material is required. Material is also determined by the design.
Yes, but the thing is that remember that a work breakdown structure does not have any schedule information in it. So if we decide that we want to break down the work in this order, that say we draw up the plan, we design the house. After the plans are approved, there's an activity here that says draw up the bill of materials, or we can say draw up bill of materials over here, and then place orders or get quotes, place orders, etc., etc. Okay, so that's not necessarily true. You can have it broken down like that because there is no sequence information. Okay, is there anything else wrong?
Yeah, but so I don't know if that talks to number one, the not complete, because I think the structure, something's not right, because then you should be able to say, like, maybe to be like building a house, maybe with one wall or something, but it's supposed to indicate that now, will the house have windows or something, because now it's like we're assuming.
Yes.
Because if it's not
Yes.
there, that's something like maybe the structure.
Because all we have is a draw up plans and have plans approved. Okay, but so let's forget about the fact that the rest of the thing isn't here, and let's look at this leg over here. Is this leg by itself correct? Is the hierarchy correct? Aluwani. Yes. Okay, so what Aluwani is saying is that there should be a dependency between the parent and the child. And can you see that have plans approved is actually, according to the numbering system, the child of design house. But the line is running between draw up plans and have plans approved. So this line is incorrect. So that should actually look like this. It should have design, and then it should have draw up plans, and then it should have plans approved. Okay, good one, well spotted, Aluwani. Okay, so the question that you always ask yourself when you look at the lowest level of the work breakdown structure, you say, if I have plans approved, have I drawn up plans? No. Okay, because the activities below the parent should always make up the parent. Whereas if I look here and I say, I've drawn up the plans and I've had the plans approved, do I now have a designed house? Yes. Okay, because I've drawn up the plans and the plans have been approved. So now I have a designed house. Whereas here, I've approved the plans. Does that mean I've drawn up the plans? No. Because remember, these lines have specific meanings. And what the lines are telling you is that these are the children and that is the parent. Whereas this can't be that one's child. Okay, and if this is that one's child, then this is that one's child, and draw up plans doesn't give you a designed house because you also have to approve plans. Does that make sense? This is always a difficult one to explain because to me it's logical.
I wanted to say, once it becomes logical, there is a kind of sequence followed. To me, that's how I'm interpreting.
Yes, yes.
Then, if there is a parent element.
Yes, yes. But I mean, look, even over here, where we have roof, foundation, walls, doors and windows, floors. These are all the children that we need done before we have a structure. But they're not necessarily in sequence, because we can't put the roof up first, although it's numbered as the first thing. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. All I'm saying is, you can't put a child over a parent.
Yes.
Then there is a logic coming
Yes,
in.
yes. There is a logic, but it's a hierarchical logic rather than a sequencing logic. Okay. Right. So, this was your homework. We have 15 minutes left. So, in the next 15 minutes, can you please, or in the next 10 minutes, can you please do your homework? Now that we've gone through the detail, because some of you might, even if you have done your homework, check your homework then now. All right. And then I will draw the homework on the board.
Let's do it first.
Yes, but you must do it first. The guys that are in the research class as well, please remind me to choose a class rep. Okay, because I'm in trouble because I haven't done that.
Please tell them I'm not doing it, so because they always like to choose me. You don't know.
What's the research? The research that